The final passage reads, "On that fated land, a great war shall transpire. Darkness will prevail, and light expire. This world is full of light. It's a world comprised of many smaller worlds, all connected, stretching as far as the eye can see. One great light protects us all. All worlds share one light, one fate." I take it you're talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
In ancient times, people believed that light was a gift from an unseen land. By the name of Kingdom Hearts. But Kingdom Hearts was safeguarded by its counterpart, the Keyblade. Warriors vied for that precious light, thus beginning the Keyblade War. All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. Sounds like your trip around the world opened your eyes, but you got a little bit more than you anticipated. You must have seen a lot of darkness. So you're saying the weak feel the need to justify their actions to maintain a sense of self. You can't let that slide. I suppose letting false light dictate the future might be a pretty lousy move. So, you can make a change. You have that power. What do you want for the world? You believe the world needs you. Sounds like you already know where you're headed. If you truly possess great power, the darkness can't control you.
All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
Why not just sit back and watch it play out?
All of this was decided.
May your heart be your guiding key. Who are you really? Some kind of fortune teller? Well, I could lie, tell you that's what I am, when I'm actually a brilliant artist, even a scholar. I could tell you that I dream of world peace, when I'm actually planning for its destruction. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
Why not just sit back and watch it play out?
All of this was decided.
May your heart be your guiding key. May your heart be your guiding key.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. We are back again as Missing Link and its beta that recently dropped has more and more information coming out, more screenshots, more video, and an interesting interview from Nomura himself that I think we're going to want to get into. Those of you who are here, you might see that Frey is listed as our guest, though she will only be joining us about halfway through the episode. So for those who don't know, Frey is a friend of the Lodge. She's been on numerous episodes, and she's one of the people who got into the beta. So she's going to be joining us later. I'll get to pick her brain about the beta. You guys could ask all the questions you want. Really kind of get like a hands-on feel for how that's going. But anyway, before we get into all the madness, Sages of the Lodge, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful names you see up on your screen are either YouTube channel members or they donate to the Lodge directly. But again, as so many of you are probably tired of hearing me say, all of that is just a bonus. All I ask is that you're here to hang out as we talk Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, other RPGs. You know, we just did a Soul Calibur episode the other night, which was pretty cool. But anyway, I see we got a lot of you in here already. Let's shout you guys out. We got Rural Neptune, Jay So Silly, Tenebrae Queen, DJ Ghoul, A Sage of the Lodge, Seven Hearts, Games for You, who was chilling during the Octopath stream earlier. We got Adonai, my man, Gollum Baggins, Skazfish, A Sage of the Lodge, Tiger Weirdo, and Vitrin. And then I see we got Seven Hearts and Xander over on Twitch, which, by the way, guys, make sure you check out Xander's latest video. He put out a great missing link theory you're going to want to see. Xander, no shame. No shame. Get that link to your video. Drop it in the chat, my man. Let the people know about it. Again, we're talking missing link today. By the way, everything we're covering today and everything you see, every footage, all the screenshots, every video, every tweet, all of it, I have links to the sources in the episode description. And I'll be sure to let you know who it is whose like footage and stuff we're looking at when we're looking at it. But anyway, let's get started. We're going to look at some of Frey's stuff. She put out a lot of good stuff I want to check out today. But first things first, I want to talk about what another friend of the Lodge has been putting out. Good old Keycast, who was just in the Lodge recently. That was a fantastic episode we did together. And chat absolutely was electric during that. But anyway, I know it's controversial, but you should do a Kingdom Hearts AI video. You know, I guess I'm not sure why it would be controversial, unless you're deliberately, like, stealing something. But I've thought about, like, writing fan fictions with AI. Like, telling an AI, like, hey, write a story about Xehanort and Terra going to Burger King, and they get the order wrong. Like, stuff like that, I feel like that could be fun. Maybe I'll just do, like, a chatting stream and just do that. Anyway, back on topic here. A lot of the juiciest stuff, by the way, guys, there's not a whole lot of new footage to really dive into, but a lot of the juiciest and best stuff comes from this interview that Nomura did, which has been roughly translated. So please, everybody, take everything from this interview with Nomura with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, it's rough translations. We'll look at both what people like Keycast who have translated will say, and we'll look at the actual translation. But anyway, let's get into it. So, one thing that Nomura confirmed is that the story updates for Missing Link aren't going to take too long to release. Now, what he means by that is that when comparing it to Union Cross, which if you guys remember, Union Cross would leave you hanging on the edge for months. And there was no rhyme or reason to it, right? It's one thing where it's like, hey, every 6 months you get an update. You know what I mean? Every 6 months you get an update. As opposed to them just kind of sporadically releasing it whenever it was ready with no rhyme or reason, etc., etc. Anyway, here's the rough translation. It says, I'm curious about the pace of scenario updates, to which Nomura replies, how many months did Union Cross update? We are no longer in an era where that kind of thing is allowed. Will the bases be expanded? His answer is it will spread. And then when asking who's your favorite character among the staff, he says there are only 2 characters, so it's a piece. And I think it's a reference to Mother Gothel. DJ Ghoul, a member for 19 months. My man, you are a legend. You are a legend. But yeah, so just to round that one back, basically confirming that Missing Link's releases, at the very least, what they're aiming for is for it to be more steady, more consistent, and more frequent than it was with Union Cross, which it would have to be. By modern standards, you have to have, like, again, I'm not worried because Ever Crisis is pulling it off really well, but you have to have a steady influx. Okay. Next, again coming from our man Keycast. It says, Nomura confirmed that we won't get to pick a society in Missing Link. We will be assigned one to the story. Which, again, that was something we talked about, I think, in the last episode, episode 207. We said it looks like they pick the society for you. It's not going to be like Union Cross where you're picking, you know, what union you want to be a part of. What this looks like is, hey, they have a story to tell. They have a certain story to tell about what it's like to be a part of a certain society, whether that's the society of like the Blue Bloods, the Gifted Wielders, or the Non-Wielders, whichever one it has to be. They have a vision, and they have a process by which they want to roll that story out. So honestly, I kind of like that. I think picking all the unions is cool, but the thing is, guys, for the most part, the more variability you give the player in a narrative, the less constructive and less, for the most part, a lot of the depth in the plot can be restricted by giving the player a certain level of narrative freedom. By locking us into this one society, it allows their narrative to kind of have a funnel that it can go through so that everybody's sort of experiencing the same thing. Which, in a game that's going to let you customize to a certain degree, that's important. So, Baroque that? Yes, Baroque. I got it right, Baroque. I said it wrong during the last podcast, but got it right this time. We will all more than likely be sent to the Baroque Society. Moving on. Is a navigator different from a Keyblade user? Does each organization have a navigator? Nomura uses a Keyblade, just don't use it. Each society doesn't have a navigator. Only Freya. So Freya's role is specific to that society. Her role is not embodied in the other societies. And we're going to talk about Freya. Some shit dropped about Freya. Anyway. See, okay. By the way, you don't have to choose your favorite society. Like Union Cross, the society the player joins is fixed. Which again, I like that. Player variability in the narrative can be fun, but too much of it, then the narrative has to stay loose, and you can't really build out things in a more concrete way. For lack of a better term. It's not that it can't be done, it just makes it more difficult. I see we got Mary, Scary, Jay So Silly, and Afro Puff have pulled up. So has Zoo Pasha and Just a Waffle. What's going on, everybody? It's a great day to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. Moving on. This is a fun one. Check it out. So a special event was recently held in Japan that Nomura attended. At this event, there was a video showing off Disney Worlds confirmed for Missing Link, Olympus, Dwarf Woodlands, and a possible Pinocchio world were shown alongside with a few mystery ones. So Olympus, I love Olympus. Olympus is practically an original Kingdom Hearts world at this point. I hope Olympus is in every game. I don't care. I do not care. Put Olympus in every game, Square Enix. It's a rite of pay. It feels like an original world at this point. Missing Link won't be missing much longer. Absolutely, Sven. Freya is the only navigator for all societies then? Actually, DJ Ghoul, the way I'm understanding it, and again, maybe when Faye gets in here, because she's played the game, she can offer a little insight, or if Tiger Weirdo is here. No, her role is exclusive to that society. She doesn't embody it in all the other societies. Only in that one. Okay. Become a real boy. The massive fourth wall break is coming. Not only that, like, seeing Prankster's Paradise and Dwarf Woodlands here makes me happy, because one thing I don't want them to lose, I don't want them to lose old-fashioned Disney. I don't want to lose that. I did enjoy, for the most part, Kingdom Hearts 3's surge into modern Disney titles, but I don't want Kingdom Hearts to constantly be getting a new coat of paint depending on what Disney's doing. I want these worlds to keep coming back. You know what I mean? And personally, Dwarf Woodlands, I could go either way. But Olympus, hyped. And Prankster's Paradise, hyped. Hyped. Okay, moving along. Okay, now this moves us along to some of Faye's stuff, who she will be here soon. Make sure you guys check her out. I got her links. Honestly, I think it was during the 12-hour stream we got her up to 500 subs on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed to Faye, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on YouTube. She's a great source of Kingdom Hearts content. She's always playing RPGs. She was playing Chrono Trigger this morning, which was fun. But anyway, let's get into some of what she's uncovered here. Supreme Brawler's here. What up, Supreme Brawler? So, she says, I made it to the jungle area in Missing Link from a battle quest. So if you guys remember, the highly contested, what world is that jungle area? She got to it. Where the suspicions are if this world is Moana, Lilo and Stitch, or Neverland. So here's a closer look at this world. Let me turn the sound on. By the way, I think her custom character looks really cool here. Got a little cotton candy color scheme going on. But this is an interesting looking world, man. I will say, looking at this now, I think they got to clean up the UI a little bit. Let me shrink it down for you guys. One sec. Now that we have a really good look at this. Here. Let me shrink this down for you guys. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I think there's too much. I almost feel like there's too much here on the screen. Maybe these could be shrunk down and moved down. I don't know. The UI looks a little bit too overbearing. Oh wait, but you could customize the UI. That's the good news. That's all. I didn't bring that up yet. That was for later. Funny how I caught that. But no, you can customize the UI. So you can shrink these things as you need them to. So, okay. That's funny how that just kind of came full circle. But let's watch this clip. Which the combat looks smooth, dude. Like, this game has a lot of potential. That's kind of my key line here is everything I'm seeing, I'm like, this game has massive potential. And this is going to be such a tired perspective because everybody shares it. This game would be wasted on smartphone alone. If it comes to PC, that's good enough. But this game would be wasted on a smartphone alone. Although it looks like it handles pretty well. So you see that? If you get defeated, you can choose to continue with jewels. Okay. So there you go. You got to see what a little game over screen is like. Music is great too. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Let me see what you guys are getting on about. Reminds me of the Oasis from Pride Lands and KH2. I'm dying for Lion King to come back. I'm dying for that to come back. Could be Jungle World from Treasure Planet. There you go. Moana and Coco. I see. What narrative reasons do you think could take place in those worlds? Well, Olympus, remember in Dark Road, we learned that Olympus was connected to the final world and that both unreality and reality are connected to the final world. So Olympus is sort of this Olympus is, let's just put it this way. Olympus is very important to the lore. Therefore, it's here. As for Pinocchio, I think somebody was alluding to a fourth wall break, being a real boy along those lines. As for Dwarf Woodlands, maybe we got to wake up someone who's sleeping. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, let's see what else you're getting on. You can shrink the UI. Yep, you can shrink the UI. God, I need this game yesterday. Me too. Okay, let's pull this down again. Perfect. Moving on. Ooh. Let's just tap that up. Get my computer's UI out of the way. And let's get back to it. So the Kairi and Riku pieces that she was kind enough to post, which, look, you guys come here for a reason. It's because I'm kind of a sicko, all right? No, Kiev Games, you have not missed much. You've only missed the first, 15 minutes. You're good. Dang, they look great. I'm going to zoom in on this, actually. Let's make this bigger. So here's the Kairi trophy. Here's what I like. Haste. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. Maybe I'm looking too far into this, okay? Maybe I'm looking too far into this. Chat, you let me know. I think there's a lore implication to haste being the action connected to her trophy. One, Kairi is feeling hasty about going to Quadratum to fight beside Riku and Sora. Two, Kairi's biggest character flaw in the Darkseeker saga was her haste. That was her biggest flaw, right? Whether we look at, there's numerous examples. I'll bring up primarily the biggest ones. Kingdom Hearts 2. Her haste by running through the dark corridors is what got her kidnapped by Axel. Her haste is what got her in trouble in battle in the finale, in the final act. It was her haste in Kingdom Hearts 2 that got her kidnapped. It was her haste that got her into trouble, piled on by a bunch of nobodies in the finale, needing to be saved by Riku. Again, Kairi's haste was a big flaw for her in Kingdom Hearts 2. Move on to Kingdom Hearts 3. That haste basically, how would you say, remanifested itself in Kingdom Hearts 3, again, as it was her haste in battle that kind of got her into trouble. But it's her arc currently between the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 and moving into Melody of Memory, Remind Melody of Memory, is Kairi learning to curb that haste, right? That's why when you talk about in Melody of Memory, her not going with Riku to Quadratum, it's her keeping that haste in check. She's finally learned to keep that haste in check. You could tell she vocalizes that she wants to go, but she finally stands to reason to go, hey, I'm not ready to fight beside you guys. I need to go back and train. And she asks to train under Master Aqua. You know, that's big when compared again to Kingdom Hearts 3, where she's like, no more, let me keep you safe. No more going out alone on your adventures. In the Keyblade Graveyard, she tries to dive in front of Axel to protect him from the Heartless, but in her doing that, they swept her up. You know, again, Kairi's haste, when you look at that, that's been one of, if not the biggest character flaw she's had throughout the series. And that's why, again, in Melody of Memory and Remind, you're seeing her start to curb that haste and get a hold of it. But anyway, that could be me looking too far into it. The trophy looks good. It gives you a little haste action. MP plus 3 magic. There you go. Training under Aqua, who primarily uses magic. Increases magic by 20. There we go. Okay. Let's see. She just doesn't want to get kidnapped again. And, you know, and that's the thing about Kairi getting kidnapped that not enough people talk about, is there's a pattern there, right? Kidnapped by Axel, kidnapped by Xehanort. She gets kidnapped by Axel, and then she befriends him. Remember in Dream Drop Distance when they told her she'd be training with Axel? She's like, what? The guy who kidnapped me? But then what does she do? What does she do? She brings the best out in him. You know what I'm saying? Now we have Xehanort, who was her kidnapper. I would love to see her, by whatever reason, via it in a dreamscape like a Melody of Memory, or maybe some way through Quadratum, that she can, again, level with her captor in the same way she did Axel. Again, it wasn't an accident that she got paired up with Axel in Kingdom Hearts 3. That's a big part of her, kind of taking someone who was once a kidnapper and bringing him over to the other side. You know, seeing the best of him. But anyway, I'm rambling here. Let's look at the Riku one. Which looks equally as cool. A little choppy, I will say. Like, they could use a little bit of better lighting, I suppose, is what I would say. But moving on, Ars Arcanum, so straight up brutal attack, baby. Brutal attack. You're going to want this in your hand. Not to mention, lost it for a second there. HP plus and attack plus. So straight up DPS boosts right here with Riku, which I love. And then with Kairi, you have more of a stat boost. Again, haste helps you to act quicker, which again, I would love to see that too. Let's see what the chat's getting on about. Ars Arcanum on Riku's pretty interesting, not going to lie. If you have any further thoughts, feel free to go on. Landy is one of few, I believe, get Kairi and do her justice. Kairi is a way better character than people give her credit for. She's gotten a lot of attention and screen time, especially as of late. And I'm excited to see what they do in the future. I think she's very underrated. That's how I'll put it. She's not a perfect character by any means. I just think she's underrated. I hope Kairi gets even more development as the games continue. I mean, I think Remind and Melody of Memory make it pretty clear that she's going to be a big part of what's coming. And they've already think about it. Since Kingdom Hearts 3, so that would include Kingdom Hearts 3, Remind, and Melody of Memory, Kairi's gotten more attention than Riku. So, you know what I mean? Just keep that in mind. Landy cooking. I'm always cooking. Landy, you cooking. I'm always cooking. Xander with the haste. PvP would be insane. I'd love it. Her leaving for Quadratum is going to be a big mistake. I actually hope Riku's the one who made the mistake. And then Kairi's the one who's got to bail him out. But we'll see. My man Sonny Novus is here. If she gets stronger than Riku, I'm going to be pissed. I don't know. I could go either way about that, Andy. One advantage Kairi's going to have over Sora and Riku is having hands-on training with a Keyblade Master. That is something Sora and Riku never got. And as early as Dream Drop Distance, they had to relearn everything that they learned for themselves. You know? So I think Kairi's going to have an advantage that the others don't. But at the end of the day, I think all characters in terms of power scale will be relatively even. Yeah, Sonny, how is your brain doing after your 3-hour live stream going through all of this? It really looked fried after your last stream. Yeah. Yeah, you guys should check out Sonny's live streams. He's been live streaming lately. It's been such a good vibe. Ars Arcanum typically is associated with the Sora characters. Shion does it in Days. It's one of Sora's signature moves. And Ventus, that's a good point. Huh. Interesting. I think Kairi could be a stronger mage than the other two and be the Aqua of the trio. That's what I'm saying. DJ Ghoul, you're getting it. You're getting it. Right? Think about it like Sora could be DPS, Riku could be tank, Kairi can be mage. You know? All right, let's keep rolling. Riku trained with Terra. Enrique, not really, though. Not really. Terra bequeathed him in Birth by Sleep, but then, like, a day later, he was Xehanort's vessel. And then as far as, like, Remind is concerned, yeah, he called Riku to the Land of Departure. Seemed like he had some talking with him. But honestly, Riku became a Keyblade Master before Terra. You know what I'm saying? Got caught up on the Freya Chirithy connection. We're going to get there, Sonny. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Sonny went through the 5 stages of grief in 3 hours. I mean, it's a quick turnaround time. In Cage 3, Terra said he taught Riku everything he knew, though. Yes, but that was also after Riku became a Keyblade Master. And there wasn't a lot of time for him to really do that. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying. There's obviously a connection between the two, but Riku became a master without Terra. Kairi's going to become a master with Aqua. But anyway, Sonny, I hope you'll stick around. I hope you'll stick around for when we get into the Freya of it all. Honestly, if anything, Kairi is probably the most powerful character. I'll let you finish. Imagine if she learned to harness the Princess of Heart powers, which is given to her by a piece of the original Keyblade. See, Afro Puff, that's where I'm with you. If you tally up everybody's abilities, Kairi might be the most important piece on the board. Sora might be the only one more important, but it's very obvious to me that when it comes to like your pieces on the board, Kairi is number 2. Sora's probably number 1. It's just like chess, right? Sora is the king piece. Kairi is the queen piece. You know? That's just how I feel. Again, that's just how I feel. Not because you don't just consider the Keyblade abilities, you consider that she's a Princess of Heart and everything that comes with that. But anyway, let's keep rolling. Kiev Game says Kairi becoming even more powerful would be insane, especially if she utilizes the Princess of Light within herself and come. You guys get it. You guys get it. You guys get it. Let's go. Here we go. So now let's talk about the Moogles. It's Moogle time. Kairi is just a damsel in distress. Can you name me any other damsel in distress in fiction that saves the main character's life 3 or 4 times? If you can do that, I'll agree with you. If you can find me one other damsel in distress that saves the main character's life more than the main character saves her, then you got yourself a mind that's been changed. But anyway, let's talk about Faye. There are a number of Moogles you could interact with in Missing Link. So I found a guide Moogle, a weather Moogle, a shop Moogle, a locksmith Moogle, exchange Moogle, and pleading Moogle. Interesting. So this looks like... Oh, there's a little bit of dialogue. Tell me about the weather in the astral plane, Kupo. So that's okay. So that's the weather Moogle. That's the weather Moogle. Zelda from Zelda. Zelda would not fit the bill either, though. Like, that's kind of my point, dude. A damsel in distress is a character where her primary role is to be saved by the protagonist. Princess Peach is a good example of something like that. Characters like Zelda and like Kairi, whose importance to the plot transcends their need to be rescued at a given time, that's not what a damsel in distress is. Because if a damsel in distress was just a woman who needed to be rescued, then that would make Sora and Riku equally damsel in distresses because they are constantly needing to be rescued themselves. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, these are not damsels in distress. Thank you, Sven. Thank you, Sven. Zelda saved by Link, and she saves Link all the time, bro. BG, that's my point. That's my point. If Zelda's saving Link and Link is saving Zelda, then Zelda can't be a damsel in distress and Link gets to not be a damsel in distress. You see my point? If Zelda needs Link to save her and Link needs Zelda to save him, then Zelda can't be the damsel in distress and Link is the courageous hero. They're both heroes who need to save each other. Sora and Kairi operate in a similar way. Again, if you're looking for something like damsel in distress, again, a Princess Peach, who when you play Mario, she's captured by Bowser, and the only thing she does is get rescued. That's what that means. Anyway, let's move on here. This is not a Kairi podcast. I love Kairi podcasts, but this is a Missing Link podcast. So let's get back into it here. So this is the Locksmith Moogle, which I suppose is maybe like if you find treasures that need to be unlocked. We can agree to disagree. Absolutely. BG, respect. We can just agree to disagree. Anyway, Locksmith Moogle, I'm curious what that is. I'm wondering if you find certain treasures in the astral plane and then you got to bring them to the Moogle and the Moogle themselves will unlock it. I don't know. Just an idea. Then we have this guide Moogle who says, if there's something you want to know, I'm the one to ask, Kupo. So probably like if you don't know what to do or what you should be doing, I guess this is your guy. I love his outfit. And I wonder, Sonny, did you go crazy on this? Did you think that this was a Sigurd outfit? Because it looks Sigurd-ish. It's missing the orange. But it would be interesting if the guide Moogles dressed like Sigurd, and Sigurd sort of works as the player's guide. I don't know, Kupo. And then we have the Pleading Moogle. I'm trying to get a new sponsor for my shop. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Yeah, Sigurd-ish. It's Sigurd-ish. It's missing the sort of orange lines on it. You know what I'm saying? Where do you think Dark Chirthy ended up instead of the final world? Who knows? Dark Chirthy, I think, will probably appear in Missing Link. Just a guess. Have we seen any more of Sigurd yet? Not yet. Sora's wide range of potential for connection, Kairi's being a heart of light, and Riku's affinity for the positive side of darkness. Yes, they each have a role to play. They each have a role to play in their own right. I'm thinking if they put a theater mode like they are thinking, it will be accessible through the guide Moogle. Ooh, that's a good point. Has the gold crest, which I theorize to be a founder's pendant. Let's check it out. You talking about this right here? Ooh, okay. We're going to need these Moogle plushies. Yeah, they could make a killing. I would love to have this Moogle. Okay. Let's keep this rolling. Oh, what happened? Did I lose everything? No, we're good. So, this is an interesting thing. Encourages you to collect AP on a sunny day, hinting some things may be weather-based depending on where you are in the world playing the game. It's a sunny day in the astral plane, Kupo. A perfect time to go out and collect AP. Interesting. Very interesting. Again, I don't think there's too much to pick apart there. Pretty self-explanatory. Here, this is cool that she hooked us up with this. Actually, give me 1 second. It's almost time. She's ready now. Okay. Faye is ready now, so she'll be joining us. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me get... Oh, she's here. Faye, you are here. All right, let's get you in here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let's move this to this. All right. Let's move this out here. Move this here. I'm going to move you over here. Just got to reorganize my overlay a little bit. Live production with the podcast, everybody. That's what you get. Okay. Perfect. And then here, let's put that there. All right. Discord usually is a little wonky when I place calls, so we might have some technical difficulties, but we'll figure it out. All right. Allow. All right, Faye, I'm buzzing you over on Discord. Okay, perfect. I got the sound on. I think I hear you.
Hello.
All right, perfect. All right, how's it going, Faye?
I'm good. How are you, Landy? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for making time for us today. I was enjoying your Chrono stream earlier.
Oh my god, I'm actually really loving that game. It's really fun.
Yeah, I've never played it. I will say you do still have the battle theme stuck in my head.
I do?
Yes.
It's still stuck in my head, to be honest, when I was making dinner earlier.
Okay, so we were looking at some of your stuff earlier, which thank you for letting us cover some of that. All right, there you are. Let's get you. Let's see if I got this right. Okay, just got to fix this. But you are going to be on camera in like a second. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I guess before we get too crazy into it, 1 second. Just want to get you all set here. Perfect. Okay, so what are your overall feelings about the game? Having gotten your hands on it for the first time, playing it through the beta, do you feel more positive about the game having played it, or do you feel more worried about it and its release?
Positive about it, because I'm one of those fans, and I will put my hands up and admit that I was really not overly excited about the next Kingdom Hearts game being a mobile game. Just because I'm not really naturally a mobile gamer, so I was one of those fans that really wanted this to be console. To be honest with you guys, so I was skeptical. So when I've been playing it, I've actually been very delightfully surprised how much I've been sort of addicted to it and how much I'm really enjoying it, actually. A lot more than what I thought I was going to. So it's actually completely blown my mind and took me by surprise by how well put this game is and how fun it feels. I do think there is slight room for improvements. But to be honest, I'm having a blast of it. So I think everyone else will when it comes out, to be honest.
Well, let me ask about the gameplay itself. How does the gameplay feel? Does it feel too compared? Did you play Union Cross or Dark Road?
A little bit, but I fell off it quite quickly. And then Dark Road, I remember playing on day one, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it, truthfully. So playing this, I think I remember you covered this on one of the posts on the previous Missing Link podcast you did, but that first segment when you're in Dive to the Heart and you're basically doing what is like the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1 all over again, it felt really, really great and nostalgic, and like the flow and the movement is so weird because I'm playing it on a phone and all I'm using is like my thumb. So I know the game has like controller support, but I haven't been doing that. I've just been sort of playing it as, how it comes with the phone and that. But just watching like your player character move and attacking all the Heartless, it is literally like playing the console games but on your phone. It's so mind-blowing to me, truthfully. It's really, really, the gameplay is really smooth at the moment.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like you. I played Union Cross for a good chunk of it, maybe for like a year, but it was never for the game. The gameplay's never what brought me in. I did like the story beats. I liked customizing my character and things like that brought me in. But it seems like with this, at least, based on your sort of, testimonial there, that, the gameplay is not going to feel like a chore. Because that's what Union Cross and Dark Road's gameplay felt like to me. But how would you compare it to playing how would you compare it to Kingdom Hearts 3, the latest numbered title, combat-wise? Does it feel like they're trying to bring the KH3 combat to mobile? Because that's what it looks like. But does it feel that way when you're playing it, or does it feel maybe more like a chain of memories, right? If you had to pick one Kingdom Hearts combat to compare this to in terms of feel, what would you compare it to?
Say both. A little bit of both in a way.
Like 3 and chain of memories?
Yeah, I think they're kind of both kind of good examples actually, because like just like the sort of again, I'm using the word flow a lot, but it's just because of the way that the player character moves and just how like quick everything is. I feel like that feels very Kingdom Hearts free. But then when you are using the pieces and stuff, like I guess it can be similar as you using like magic from the command deck, but I guess just sort of seeing it illustrated as like pieces, kind of similar to how the cards were in Chain of Memories. Like it really feels like a little bit of both. So it's like they've put like the pieces, kind of like the command deck with magic, but it is different than how the cards were used in Chain of Memories though. So I'd say it's more feeling like 3, but the pieces just sort of bring that aesthetic, if anything, if that makes sense.
Okay. I know exactly what you mean, because you're not like stacking them the way you would in Chain of Memories, how you put different combinations together like that. It's more like selecting it when the time is right, is what it looks like to me. How is the Scala overworld overall? How does that feel?
It feels really cozy. It feels really cozy. But there is also I might have to quickly like do this as I'm like talking because I really want to get the reference for this right. But you're walking so I'm literally doing it right now, right? I'm walking around Scala. And if I speak to the guard, please inform any guards if you see anyone suspicious. So I didn't capture that guard in my other Scala post. This is the guard at the other side of the world. So even though like I think these gates are closed because we'll access more of Scala over time rather than being the story thing, I think it could also be a story plot point where they're trying to sort of protect the world of Scala at the moment because the Drifter has arrived and there's a lot of sus and sort of, I guess, worrisome around the world of Scala. So even though the music is so beautiful and it's really cozy, like you see the Mogul shops, like you can run into other players. So you don't see them like run around, like kind of like how you would in Final Fantasy 14. They're just sort of just stood still at the moment, and you can see that their names above their head. So you can see other players. You can run around Scala and hear the dialogue of the NPCs, and yeah, they're saying things like, "Oh, heard that there was a drifter that something got stuck at the beach or something like that." I can't word it word for word, but like they are dropping little bits of dialogue with the NPCs, and then there's like a job board. So it kind of reminds me of like the job board in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, where you're Roxas and you get to do the certain jobs. You can't unlock it yet, so we can only just see that there's a job board. We can't see like what these jobs are like, but that's just what my prediction is. It's going to be something like that. And then there's like a restaurant, which looks like as well. So I think that's as well sort of like put together. So I kind of feel like that's going to have a big part to play in it as well, perhaps. But it's very beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful world so far. But there's also this sus to it at the same time.
Like look over your shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah. There is this kind of, I guess the societies and the order of Scala is very, just from like, predictions from what I'm seeing, it just feels very put together, if that makes sense. And they don't want things to be broken. That's the sort of vibe that I'm getting.
Okay.
So,
kind of the feeling that you're in a glass house. Something like
kind
that.
of.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, I have a question from the audience actually. Games for You is asking you, did you ever feel like you have to go out so that you can continue playing? Like, did you feel like you had to go outside to play, or do you feel like you could really experience the whole thing being at home?
I think that because I've been playing the whole thing at home, so I know some people who are playing the game at the moment, they've been sort of doing a bit of both, but I've actually done it at home because I am the kind of player that would want to play this at home. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I feel like yes, but there's also like catches though. So when you're so for example, that clip I know you showed earlier in stream, like where I was dying a lot. I did that purposely, just to show like what would happen, right? I just feel like because when you're in an astral plane as well, you're spending a lot of AP to unlock certain points, so you can like fight bosses and stuff.
Mhm.
But you wouldn't have to be spending that if you were actually outside. So your AP could be used for something a bit more helpful, like upgrading your Keyblade or something if you were actually playing the game outside, or you can choose to spend it not playing the game outside, but you can still do the same thing that you would do if you play the game outside, but it's just different. So
I see.
I guess my best example of this is like, I don't know if you've played Genshin or if anyone's played Genshin before. I haven't played Genshin in about a year now, so I don't know if anything's changed, but it feels like, yeah, like if you, this is just an example, this is not what it is. Well, it kind of is a little bit like that Missing Link at the moment, but it's just an example. But it's like, if you pay to win, like you're going to get more, but if you do free play, like you're still going to do pretty much all the same things, but just maybe not get as much rewards for it, if that makes any sense at all.
They're gonna make it a little more difficult for you if you do it that way.
It just feels like just a little bit of a tad so far, if anything. It could change. This is just the impression that I get from the beta currently, so that could change. But that's just, yeah, the vibe that I'm getting so far.
Okay. I also wanted to talk a little bit about you did a raid battle, and I saw you put a clip up of that. I got that. I got that pulled up right now. What was that experience like? Because I know for me, these like multiplayer raids is probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Would you say, like, how do you feel about it? Does it feel like this is the main draw of the gameplay, combat, multiplayer? Like, how did this feel to you?
Out there.
What's up?
Oh, you cut out there.
Oh, I cut out? I'm basically just asking what your experience with the raid was. Like, how did it feel overall? Was it easy to find a match? How was it playing with other people? Things like that.
Moment, I don't think it's that smooth, because I think it's just because it's the beta. If anything, I do think that's going to change once the game is out. That recording that I did there, I just got very lucky, to be honest, because I managed to have 6 people in the team, and it was pretty much straight away.
Okay.
But since then, it has been quite hard to find a group of 6. That the max I'm getting is like a group of 4. And it has been a bit difficult since. And I think I've never done like raids before. So like I haven't done raids in like 14 before, any other games before. So it was a very new experience entirely for me. And I don't know, I think because I have that lack of experience of it, it just felt a bit overwhelming to me in a way.
Okay.
But that could feel completely different to someone who has played like a lot of 14, for example. So it was fun, you know. One thing I have noticed so far is like with that behemoth, for example, and it's pretty much the same with most of the heartless that you fight. It's like the lock is like automatically on the character, so you're just, anytime you're tapping the screen, you're just immediately going to that character.
Gotcha.
And there's like a bar at the above, not with like the raid bosses like behemoth, but if you're fighting like a group of heartless, you can change your target. But if it's just a solo heartless like behemoth or dark side, it's automatically locked. So
Gotcha.
There's no like pressing like R1 to lock and unlock like target. So
right, it kind of does that for you.
It kind of does that for you.
Because I will say, visually, it looks like a party. Like, I see all these wheelers gagging up on the... I'm like, this looks like a party, man. I can imagine a voice chat with this connected. I don't know. To me, this is probably what I'm most excited about. And again, maybe it's because I'm a bit of an FF14 like fanboy. But I don't know. Because to me, it's like, the idea of playing Kingdom Hearts with your friends like this was something unfathomable to me just like 5 years ago, you know?
Yeah, it will be really fun, and like you can send like the emotes and stuff to each other, which I'm aware that's from Union Cross as well. So that's really cool to me. Yeah, I think maybe I was just a bit underleveled, maybe perhaps to do it, but I don't know. I want to cover everything as much as possible, so maybe I am rushing a bit with some things, but I think once you feel a bit more comfortable with the game, I think the raids will actually generally be super fun. They have been I think the raids and one certain area boss that I've fought in the astral plane got a bit laggy for me at times.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I haven't actually experienced much lag, which is kind of a good thing.
That is good.
But I did experience it in the raids. Probably the most often is the raids that I've experienced it the most, actually.
Interesting. Okay. Let me see what chat's getting on of this. Okay, Zabulin says, I mentioned this on Twitter, but each time I see the raid, it looks like the possibility for player versus player is very possible. Which, did you get into any of those like one-on-one fights with the NPCs? I saw some people have been able to trigger something like that.
Yeah, I like there's these sort of like NPC characters that they're really, the design on them is really weird actually, because it's like they have like, they look like a human, but their face is like kind of all like masked up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very, very random NPCs that you can fight. They've been interesting.
Now, I'm really excited to talk to you about this next part because traditionally in games, I've burned so many hours in these kind of modes. How are you liking the character customizer? I have one of your designs pulled up on screen right now because it looks like you've been having fun with this.
See, I just love character customization a lot. Like I can easily get addicted to this aspect of gameplay. So the character customization so far is really fun. Like obviously it's quite limited at the moment because of the beta, but I can honestly see this really really growing once the game is released and over time. So that outfit that you've pulled up is one that you can actually, it's one you can actually buy. So I used I think it was Jaws. I might be getting the currency wrong, but because there's a few different kind of currencies with this game, but you can buy but it's not, I didn't buy actual money, so I didn't pay legitimate money to get that outfit, but I did use like Jaws to buy this particular one. So you have 3 outfits that you can start off with, and it's the player character one that you have seen, like the whole white long coat, the hat. You have like Freya and Remus's like red coat outfit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there is another one, but I haven't actually used the other one. And then there's 4 that you can buy in game at the moment, which is this one, a mage outfit. So it kind of looks like Vivi in a way from Final Fantasy. And then there's 2 other ones that I haven't really looked at, to be honest, but I chose this one. And I bought it and just customized it. So you can customize a lot. So the hair color, you can change so much. You can have bright color, your own hair color, and there's 2 parts that you can edit with it. So you can edit like the top half of the hair and the bottom half of the hair.
So you can put like streaks.
So you can even do like, you can put like streaks or highlights and stuff. You can edit like your skin tone. The outfits, like you can. So this particular outfit, there was 3 sections that I could edit, which was the bow isn't part of it. It was part of like an accessory. But if we take the bow away, and forget the shoes, I can edit the like armor,
mm-hmm.
the scarf, and like the actual outfit itself. So there's different like sections of each outfit that you can customize as well. Like the shoes, I was able to do the socks, and then like the belts around the shoes, and then the shoe itself. So there's different options for certain like things. So like with both the outfit and the shoes, there was 3 times I could customize it. Like the bow is just one color, for example. But yeah, there's going to be certain parts of different outfits where you can really, really go to town with it in a way and be very creative with it if you want to. Which I find very fun. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, it looks like a good time, and the fact that they separated things into so many different categories, right? You know, that it's not just like, oh, top and bottom. It's like, no, you have your like your bottom leg wear and your footwear. You know, that you have these accessories, like the fact that you put this bow on top of the outfit. I would have thought the bow came with the outfit. You know, so that tells me that a lot of the mix, I guess, let me ask that. When you find you're mixing and matching pieces from different outfits, do you find that And obviously this could just be a consequence of lack of choice, but do you find that they don't string well together very well? Like, do they mix and match well, or do they look obscure?
I think it wasn't originally, but if you do be creative with it, I think you can customize it a fair bit, I think. But originally, no. Originally, no. There's a pair of shoes that I saw and I really liked, and I probably would have normally put that on the character, but I didn't really want to. But now I'm like looking back at this, I might see if I can experiment and see if I can make them look a bit better. So some things feel like they will flow together, but some things, yeah, like that bow, for example, that bow is supposed to belong on like one of like the bigger dresses. There's a big dress option. And the bottom half of it, I guess, is very, like, you can imagine like there's a petticoat under it and it looks very old-fashioned in a way. But it belonged on the back of the dress, but I'm putting it at the back of this outfit, so it doesn't actually belong to this outfit. I've just put it there. So yeah, you can really mix and match with the accessories, and you can see on the right-hand side, like, there's options. So you've got like 3 options to put different accessories. So I've got like earrings on, I've got that bow on, and then I've got another option to add another accessory down the line. So yeah, hats is like the top left. Yeah, you can really, really go to town with it. So I'm so interested to see what other outfits they bring eventually, because I'm wondering if they'll bring like the same thing they did with Union Cross, where you could sort of dress up like the Disney characters in a way again. That would be really fun to do.
Yeah, and like you can unlock like Kingdom Hearts character outfits, maybe some Final Fantasy outfits. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I watched some gameplay. It looks like upon completing missions, they'll reward you with clothing options. You know, it's not like all clothing has to be like bought at the store with the in-game currency. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like that the game will give you outfits and accessories upon completing missions. Is that true, or did I misinterpret that?
Myself. So that could be true. That could be something that someone else has discovered, but I can't say that I've noticed it myself.
Okay. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about there's some more updates and stuff I think I want to touch on that you and others have posted, but I do want to talk to you a little bit about Freya. Have you seen that Nomura interview that talked about the cat motif? Does any of that sound familiar to you, them talking about a cat motif?
No, actually. Feel free to enlighten me.
Okay, I want to pull up the post itself. This way people, you know, I have my receipts, but, oh, perfect. Pulled it right up. Okay, let me pull this up. Screen. So a little something. The interviewer asked Nomura about this cat motif that he sees on Freya, which at first glance, obviously she doesn't really have like any like cat ears or cat claws, but the way I'm understanding it, they're alluding to the Chirithes and that she may have some connection to a Chirithy. Now, I've seen people take that oh, this is player's Chirithy reincarnated and she's guiding him or something. I don't know. I just know that when I saw this whole interview with Freya and that she's considered to be some... Oh, that was the thing. Nomura confirmed that she's not Ephemer's relative. That's one thing Nomura outright confirmed.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I would have, probably have theorized that she was a relative, but now that Nomura's confirmed that, it's very interesting because he stated that she's a very important character, right? So it's like, oh.
Which I'll take the L on. I thought she was just going to be NPC-ish, but right away Nomura's like, nope, she's big. She's going to be very important, which is cool. I mean, people are saying she might be related to Baldur. I could see that. You know, it's a little closer in time, too. What do you think? I've heard some people say, and of course, anytime, I swear, we're going to go through a process where everybody is like Kyrie's grandmother until proven innocent. Like, you're Kyrie's grandma until it's proven innocent. What do you think about Freya maybe being that? Any thoughts on that, maybe?
I think think it's possible. I have to agree with everybody else. Like, until we find out who Kyrie's grandmother is, like, I absolutely don't blame everyone for theorizing that.
Not every
Kyrie's grandma.
every dude is Lucio and every woman is Kyrie's grandmother until we have proof that they're not. Like that's kind of where we're at.
It's actually so true, though. I can't help but think, in a way, that I don't know. I can't help but think that maybe she could be a descendant of Riku. I don't know. Like not a descendant, like an ancestor of Riku, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I think that, really. I think part of it's like the design.
It's the silver hair.
But
all silver-haired genes are on the table now. Anyone with silver hair.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. When I think about it, there's more and more characters that have got that hair color, and I'm like, oh. It's interesting. It's interesting.
I think part of what's driving some people crazy is what Sunny is saying here. Sunny Nova says, if they're implying that Chirithys can become human, I can't. I just can't. Which, I mean, you know, I've had that thought too. I've had that thought too, and here's what I think. Here's what I think. Imagine, you know how the Dream Eaters are the wielders from Union Cross? What if the Chirithys are the wielders from the Master's time? What if that's where they came from? Just like the Dream Eaters were able to like be pulled from the Union Cross wielders. Maybe the Chirithys are another example of that. I don't know. The Master kind of just invents them in Union Cross, and we just kind of have to accept it and move on. Maybe I missed something. I don't know.
Well, you know, that could be possible. It has happened with the Dream Eaters, so who's to say that can't happen with a Chirithys? But I kind of agree with Sunny, though. I don't think I can't either.
If Chirithys become human,
if that's the case. I don't think I could either, if that's the case, yeah.
But then, like, what other cat are they talking about? Like, that's what bugs me. And that's what's funny about this, like, new Nomura interview, is that a lot of it is roughly translated, so it all has to be taken with a grain of salt. But, like, what other cat-like thing could they be talking about? The Cheshire Cat? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Oh, something. I got something. Little something.
Okay.
But Kyrie's outfit in Kingdom Hearts 3 has cat ears.
Oh, on the hoodie, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. That's not like a Disney character or something original right now.
I think they were technically supposed to be Chirithys ears, but that would connect us to this again. Chirithys are like little cats.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a unique design. But then, I think the other thing I can think of, kind of gone out of my head now. But yeah, I love how I was just like, oh, Kyrie cat ears. No, Chirithys ears. But yeah, even if that is like a little slight hint, because yeah, I always feel like there's like a little bit of hints of like Kyrie's outfit sometimes, because I know in like her bracelet in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like got a star on it, I believe, and then it's like very similar, pretty much the exact same star that's on the necklace of who we're dubbing Stella in Verum Rex. So I don't know. I think there's always like little hints sometimes that are right in front of us.
It could be something. Eugenio says Kyrie's grandma is inside the black box, and I hope she stays there. That's terrible. That's terrible. That is funny. Oh, my Lord. Okay. All right, I'm going to fly through this little Nomura interview to see if there's anything juicy in here. But is there something that's been on your mind or an impression from Missing Link we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to share? Like, overall?
Oh, like, I just feel like we're really gonna enter, like, I know we're in like this whole Lost Master arc now, but I think Missing Link really does feel like it's actually begun. Like, it actually does feel like we're actually entering a new era of Kingdom Hearts, because I think with like even just like wandering around Scala and just like how the town and the NPCs are very cautious and stuff, and how we're going to be fixed into one sort of society, and we already know probably what's going to happen at the end of the game. Like, this is an unwritten era, like it's going to be lost entirely. So I can only imagine the story being tragic. Dark Road was that sort of way too. So I can only imagine that the story is going to be really heavy. And it kind of feels like that in a way. I know that when I was wandering around the astral plane, that a certain clip that I shared of like what was dubbed as the miasma growing from the area boss, this big heartless, it was just huge. It was just absolutely huge. A huge cloud of darkness, so which is not currently in Scala, but it's currently in our reality, you know. And the more is already stated now, which to be fair, like I was kind of confused why we were going to have a GPS experience with this game, but the more is sort of stated now, like it's kind of an important, in some sort of way, plot point. The whole GPS.
What do you make of that? Do you think this is like that Quadratum really is going to be the fourth wall? Is that where we're headed, do you think, with this GPS function and everything like that?
I think so. I think it's just so bizarre. Like, I do feel like, yeah, in some sort of way, it's just sort of a way for us as the player, because we've played as the character before in Union Cross, we're playing the character now in Missing Link, and now we're going to be playing it in our own real world. Like, it's like our world in Kingdom Hearts universe is like connecting completely.
They're interfacing. There's now a workable interface between our world and the Kingdom Hearts world, which is kind of crazy to think about. That's why that feature really trips me out, that like the map in the astral plane really is just based entirely on your GPS location. It makes me wonder like what little goodies they have hidden around. Like I think somebody, I may have the city wrong, but like a city in China, like Shanghai, they went to like the Disney building and there's a lucky emblem. Like they have little things like that hidden around the map. So it's like, I'm curious, you know, what more stuff like that is laying around.
Apparently like a lot of darkness hanging around in like Disneyland, Tokyo or something. Like it's like, I didn't really get on board with it at first, but the more I actually experience it and ponder it, I just can't help but actually think, do you know what? It's actually kind of pretty creative, really. Because it was really bizarre, because when I saw that big, massive boss, that was like, I was standing on my actual road when that happened. And where that boss was my local park. So I had every urge to actually like leave the house and go to my park. Like I really felt that way. But obviously I didn't. But it's just, yeah, it is actually kind of wild and mind-blowing to me, really. Like as a really big fan, to play the game and sort of have it feel surrounded in your own environment, as well as, because we feel immersed when we're playing the games into their world when we're just playing it, but it really feels like it's being immersed into our own world right now. And that just the way that whole like miasma was, it just felt really dark. It felt really dark, and the music, like Yoko is cooking again. Like the music is,
she's always cooking.
Is very lovely. She's always cooking. She's always cooking. But I don't know. I feel like there's just kind of like a sadness to some of the songs I've heard already as well. Because obviously at the end, we know the fate of what's going to happen at the end. So it's just, I just feel like I don't think we're actually prepared really for how this whole Lost Master arc is going to feel really different and much more darker and heavier, I personally feel, to the franchise in general. I think we really have entered a new era, and I think, because it really felt like that when you play the beginning of it. You do the whole Start of the Heart segment again, and it does sort of feel that way when you're exploring Scala, which does feel like a whole new world. You explore meeting whole new characters again. Like, yeah, it just feels like it is this really new era. I think it's really beautifully introducing it, and it's like making me think, oh my god, I'm not ready for all this tragic that's probably gonna happen. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of suffering on the way. Just something, it's almost like when you feel you
Yeah.
see the dark clouds before a storm heading towards you. It kind of feels that way with Missing Link. Like you said, they've already kind of created this cryptic look over your shoulder atmosphere, things like that. But you know, first of all, shout out to Larkscene Simp, who has subscribed for 13 months. That's a great number for today's episode. Gotta hand it to him there. I want to talk a little bit about this statement Nomura made about bringing it to other platforms. I don't know if you saw anything about that yet, that he kind of made a little statement about it.
Briefly.
Yeah, so, you know, the interviewer straight up asked him, why do you release this type of game in the form of a phone app instead of making it for home use? And then asked, is it okay to do this for home use? Which is like, can you play it at home, I suppose? Nomura says, the staff told me the current smartphones can be used at home quality. So I thought I'd try playing stationary level Kingdom Hearts on a smartphone. I wanted to use the hardware features, so I decided to make it a location game. He continues, we will do it separately for home use. Well, if we release it for home use in the future, that will be that, and this will be this. To which it continues, party functions and other content that will jump out from the existing community and say, this is interesting, let's try it, because it's from real people in the neighborhood. So I think ultimately what Nomura is trying to say is, you know, obviously just like Ever Crisis, if it's successful enough, they'll bring it to Steam. It already has controller support. But as far as bringing it to console, it doesn't look like they're opposed to it, but that the vision first and foremost was this is going to be on your smartphone GPS. Like that is just the primary vision. And that if it comes to home for a further use or another play, that it might exist separately from your phone account. So it's like you might have like the phone and Steam version, which is connected online with other players and stuff, but then you might have like an offline version they bring to console. That's kind of what I'm seeing from this statement here, where he says if we bring it to home release, that will be that and this will be this. You know, to me it kind of implies they would be separate. Because I think it might be tough to, because you can like you've played 14, so obviously you can interface from console to PC, but I don't know. I mean, you played Genshin from console to PC to phone. They've pulled that off, haven't they?
Yeah, they have pulled. Yeah, Genshin. That's why I was so surprised. Like at first, until I realized obviously this has got GPS in it. Because at first I was like, why couldn't this be, you know, on PC and console as well? Because like Genshin does the exact same thing. You can also play the game on the phone. But I'm sort of gathering myself that Nomura wants to tell. I think it's just knowing Nomura at this point, and I guess his brain, and I guess where the story is. And also shout out to Xander, because I feel like Xander's theory that Xander posted is very relevant to this as well. But I feel like story-wise, I feel like Nomura just wants to tell a story that feels very interactive for us now. And GPS just is that way to feel very extra connected to it for us in a way. And I feel like once it's all done, I feel like that probably be when, in my personal opinion, I feel like once it's all done, I feel like Nomura probably would create like an offline version, sort of like what you mentioned, and it probably would be like a console PC release, hopefully, like kind of what they did with like not Days. I was gonna say Days then, but back cover. And they showed the story on back cover, but you can actually play it aspects of the game as well. Hopefully, but I feel like he's gonna do this as this first, and then I reckon once it's done, it'll probably be out later. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting a similar vibe. Again, we might see a quick turnaround time like Ever Crisis. Within 2 weeks, they were like, yep, we're going to bring it to Steam. Maybe if Missing Link sees similar success, we have that quicker turnaround time. But ultimately, I kind of agree with your sentiment here that Nomura has a vision, and the vision is on our phones with the GPS to some degree, right? Like you said, you don't have to leave your home. It can be played stationary. But he has a certain vision, and everything that's going on here is part of his vision. So if we do get another release or something separate, it's something that's definitely more down the line. Because I agree with you. This is his vision, and I think he famously has compromised his visions enough at this point. I don't think he's interested in doing it any further.
Yeah, if it does Steam, it's an absolute win.
Mhm.
It'd be an absolute win because it's if it has got the same fate as Ever Crisis, then that's really cool. Because you can, like I said, I haven't played the game leaving my house at all yet. I haven't tried it. So, and you can, and it's still really fun. And I've been pretty much addicted to it every single day since I've been very fortunately having the experience of it. So, yeah. If it comes to Steam, great. But I feel like for console though, I feel like I personally don't see it happening until once it's all been and done. I reckon because he'd want to go along with his vision.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that if they do pull it off, even though Nomura said he would kind of have this, like, that'll be that and this will be this, I feel like they almost would have to connect to the same account. But you know what? It's not the same as like a Final Fantasy 14 or perhaps a Genshin where they have their own server and you have a login for that server, right? You didn't have to make a Square Enix account to log into Missing Link, did you?
No, not from. I might be wrong. I don't think I did. No, I don't know if it will change though, because again, this is just the
beta,
the closed beta test. So I don't know if it will be different when it actually officially releases. But for this, no. For the test, no.
I will say though, if they do require you to make a Square Enix account when the game actually releases, I think it's a very good sign of it coming to Steam or console one day.
Yeah, I agree. Because you do the same with 14. You do the same with Genshin as well. You have an account, so yeah, I agree. It would be a good sign. But yeah, as from the test, no, we didn't need to have an account, no.
So, how often are NPCs fighting in your party? Because I know we see in the prologue clip that Remus fights with you in the prologue. Are you finding that you are going out on missions with certain NPCs, or has it really just kind of been you flying solo so far?
It's with so the first thing that happens is like the whole Station of Awakening, right? And then the next thing that happens is the Remus scene. And you do fight Darkseid along with Remus as well, which I thought was really cool. And then Freya is the navigator. So no, you are completely solo. The only other characters I have fought with, or I say characters, it's more of a people who have joined my party for raids. That's the only other kinds of cat players that I've fought with. I haven't fought with alongside any other characters. It's all been solo, pretty much.
Okay. And how many story-related missions would you say you've been on?
To be honest, I don't think really we've been on any. So we have, like I said, you have the beginning with Remus. I'd say that was probably a very story-based mission. And then Freya very much has that dialogue where she sort of introduces everything. And then the only things I've been doing going in the astral plane. I've been talking to the guide Mogul. The guide Mogul has been giving me beginner quests. So the guide Mogul's quests have taught me how to aerial recover, dodge roll, all that. There was a list of quests and stuff there. Taught me how to do parties and raids and everything like that. And then there's one of the receptionists by like the gates will then also give you like battle quests, which is where like you enter different sort of sceneries. And I don't know what the name for them is. I keep saying like arenas. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Like different arenas. And one of them is this place that's on the screen now. That's one of the arenas. And one of them just looks like a bit of like a warehouse. And then the other one was the jungle area that I went in. So, I've been doing battle quests as well. So honestly, like since the dialogue with Freya, all I've been doing, and I think most players who are doing the test are doing as well, we're just exploring Scala and just leveling up, collecting more pieces and doing raids and quests. That's literally all we're doing. We haven't actually seen story after that.
Gotcha. So it's all very gameplay mode focused, right? They kind of give you that prologue that we've all seen. Okay. So really just trying to collect data on how all the modes work, probably to improve those. So what do you make of this news that Nomura also confirmed in one of these interviews that most of the cutscenes are going to be voice acted and that some won't be, but that the overall majority of all the cutscenes are going to be voice acted?
Great. I think it's great. So when I was playing it, I did get to hear Remus speak. Remus did speak in Japanese. We did see the English subtitles, but the voice was in Japanese. And then I did share something pretty much the first day that I played it, and that was there's an option. The first thing you actually do really before you even get to dive to heart is you create your character. And there's this like box that's grayed out at the moment that says voice. So I wonder, it's one or two things. It's either very similar again to like Final Fantasy 14, where you're just sort of giving the emotions to the character. So if they go like or
Or
they like laugh or giggle or something, yeah,
you're choosing their
like
tone, their pitch, things like that.
Possibly, or maybe it is you actually are giving them a voice, like sort of very similar to Genshin in a way where the two twin characters actually do have a voice and they don't always speak, but sometimes they do actually interact in dialogue. Because there's a certain scene, which is like the one we're watching now, where you can see the player's character's lips move when Remus is actually asking us a question. And it's like, it just looks too awkward, in my opinion, for that not to be voiced. Because quite a long sentence that our player character says. So it does feel awkward if it's not voiced. So I feel like it's one or two options. I think it's either just going to be like the emotions, or we are going to have some sort of voice for our player character. And I reckon it could play very similar to Genshin, where there is a voice for the character. We know exactly what they sound like, but they don't always speak, because those twin characters in Genshin are technically supposed to be us as well, because we can name those characters, even though they actually have names as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think it's exciting, actually. I think that's what makes it even more exciting in a way. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I do actually like games where there isn't voicing. Like, I do like reading the dialogue. I do enjoy that. But I think for Kingdom Hearts, though, and considering just where we're going, and I just think Missing Link is going to be super important, to be honest, like leading up to 4. I think it's actually a really great decision that this is going to be voiced, because it's going to be a lot of stuff from here is clearly going to go into Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I just think it's very important.
Well,
so,
I think it's also especially important, and I think the 3D graphics are good for this too, is, look, there's going to be a number of people who love Kingdom Hearts but are not going to touch this game just because they don't want to do the mobile thing, they don't want to do the gacha thing, they don't want to wait for monthly updates, right? Everybody games in a certain way. There's going to be a number of Kingdom Hearts fans who don't play this game. But because we now have these 3D graphics and voice-acted cutscenes, it makes these story beats immediately infinitely more accessible than anything from Union Cross and Dark Road. So I think you're going to find that among the more casual fan base, they'll be more looped in on Missing Link than they will Union Cross or Dark Road. Because it'll just be way easier for them to follow along to cutscenes and stuff like that. So I just think overall that this is going to be really important.
Yeah. No, I heavily agree. Because you're so right. There are going to be people who aren't going to play it. And I feel like I do feel very grateful to have been part of the beta, because, like I said at the beginning, like I was one of those fans that might not have considered playing this game, because I like playing my games on console. Like, I don't usually play my games on mobile. So the fact that I've got to test it, and like I said, I've been blown away and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's been really addicting. And I actually now I'm very excited to have it, and it's going to be really sad when it does disappear from my phone in a couple of days. I'm gonna miss it. So yeah, I do actually highly recommend that people do give it a go still, because like you can still play this, for free, and you can have controller support as well. But I totally understand if people don't in a way, because it's not, it's at the end of the day, it's still not the same as playing a game on console. But the way it's flown, like just the way you can use your pieces, kind of like spells, the way you can attack the Heartless, like the way I guess the story is going. It still feels like an amazing entry to the Kingdom Hearts series still. It does feel that way.
Oh, we got a super chat from Billy the Kid Lawrence who says, "She don't know me, but 5 for Faye." Which, if you don't know Billy, Billy is amazing. He's been around the Landy Lodge and Ansem Report podcasts for a long time. But yes, 5 for Faye. You know what? This is a great excuse to give you a shout out now, Faye. So please indulge us. Thank you again, Billy the Kid. And there we go. But how were the loading times? I mean, I have one pulled up on the screen now, but like, how did it feel waiting in, like, did you feel like you were sitting in a loading screen too much? Did you feel like the loading times were adequate? We know it burns battery like crazy. We've heard that, but how's loading times and things like that?
Honestly, good. The only slow one was this one that's on the screen right now. Which, considering all the sort of dialogue, because you got 4 options there. I kind of feel like that's kind of purposeful in a way to read it. I think like installing the game was okay. Yeah, I just seen a comment on YouTube as well. Yeah, the astral plane does lag. The astral plane does lag. I think I mentioned it earlier as well, but the raids have lagged a little bit as well. So yeah, otherwise like just going from like Scala to the astral plane back to Scala, going into the menus and stuff, going into the battle quests. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good, to be honest.
That's good, because that's something that worried me, because I don't, it's not like your phone has a solid state drive. So I didn't know how loading all this stuff up was, but honestly, hearing that loading times are pretty good and that one on the screen's about as long as it gets, that's good news on my point. Jason Daniel says, I hate mobile games, but I'm hyped for this game. Honestly, I kind of feel that way too. I kind of share your sentiment.
I felt that way too. But like I said, I've really been blown away by it, actually. I've been really blown away by it. And I think I think it's going to be, I think a lot more people are going to enjoy this. Maybe, I mean, story-wise, it's going to be different. Like the Union Cross and Dark Road stories were very, very, very well done, in my opinion, and I love them very much. But just gameplay-wise, like just speaking about gameplay, I do think Missing Link is going to be way, way more better than what we imagined it would be from just my first impressions. It could change over time, but just first impressions, I've really, really enjoyed it. And I think people will. I think if people actually do give it a chance, I think people will actually really enjoy it too.
How do you think they will fare reaching out to not even a more casual Kingdom Hearts fan? Do you think this is a game that might be able to discover new Kingdom Hearts fans? Could you see someone more casually giving this game a shot, not knowing anything about it? Or like maybe they played Kingdom Hearts back in the day and this is a game that can rope them in? I don't know. I'm just trying to wonder, how does this game look to someone who's not you or me, Faye? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, what does this look like to someone who doesn't have a particular affinity for this game, but recognizes the franchise? Or even someone who just like loves Disney and would give a Disney game a shot,
People who are quite heavy mobile gamers, I think, would really like this a lot, I think. Because it's got all this sort of thing that's like very, and I say, because I think when you think of like Genshin and Honkai, and I know I mentioned these two, I know I'm mentioning Genshin and like Final Fantasy 14 a lot, but like I feel like there's so many aspects and elements that feel very similar in Missing Link from both of those franchises. So there's a lot of Genshin and Honkai fan bases that are mobile gamers, and it's got a good narrative. It's got lots of characters. It's got you do lots of pulls and draws, and you can get better weapons or better. In our case, it's probably give you like better outfits or better pieces, and people really, really love that. So it could attract new fans, like new Disney fans who perhaps play those sort of games, or people who may not be a Disney fan but they love the JRPGs and those sort of like, I guess, anime-esque sort of storytelling. And yeah, I think it can. I think it could. And the thing is, it's like, because we are like entering a new era entirely, and this is like before Kingdom Hearts 1 from a chronological story point. Yeah, like I think it might. I think I do actually. I'm just surprised by it all. If I'm being really honest, like I do actually kind of feel like this is a very good entry to, I guess, I don't want to say restart, but to start the new era of Kingdom Hearts in a way. Reintroduce it to people who may have like not played it in a while, or completely new fans in general. I do think it's going to be a good one.
Well, we have some testimonies in the chat. Tiger Weirdo says, as a person who's never played Kingdom Hearts games, this is very beginner friendly. Zabulin says, yes, 100% this will gain new fans. I think that's one of the main reasons for it becoming a mobile game. Yeah, I mean, I could... Again, it's kind of like you're saying, Faye, there's a whole legion of mobile gamers out there where it's like, that's how they like to play. They play on their phones. And a lot of them are in Japan, too. Mobile gaming is huge in Japan. So, maybe it won't bring as many Western fans back into the franchise, but I've got a feeling this game is going to be even more successful in Japan. Just because I think it's more conducive to, certain trends going on over there right now.
I think like I said, like this like I've never really been much of a mobile gamer before, but I can honestly see myself playing this a lot. And like I haven't even played Honkai yet, but I can imagine the next time I actually do give Honkai a go, I actually will consider choosing the phone option of playing it, if it is very similar to Missing Link in any way. Because yeah, it's, again, I'm just sort of blown away by how much fun I've actually had playing it. So, and again, the fact that it has controller support as well, you can sort of give yourself the best of both worlds in a way, where you are playing the game from your mobile phone, but it is nice to have that controller feel, and I guess it will feel smoother to play rather than just like tapping the same buttons on your screen. So yeah, I'm really excited for it, honestly. Like I'm actually just
I'm so jealous you've gotten to play it, honestly. That's where I'm at.
I feel so bad.
Why do you feel bad?
I do feel because I really want everybody to have the experience of trying it. And I know not everyone got selected, so there is a part of me that feels, oh my god, I want everyone to have it, and I truly do feel that way. But I do feel very lucky.
I want to do these raid battles with some sickos, man. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I do think the raids is something they can tweak. I think that is something that they can improve on a bit, because like I said, it was a bit laggy. And I think some of the intentions of those battles weren't very clear to me. And we're talking about a complete new person who hasn't played raids in games before. So I don't know. I think that's one aspect of the game that I think that they could tweak for the next beta, is improving the raids a little bit.
Okay, I've got two things I want to talk. One, Vitrin over here says that they've said on Twitter, but some people can't afford consoles and the games, so a free mobile game is awesome for them. Which I guess that's so good. When a PS5 is $500 and one game is $70, you're talking about $600 just to get started. So the idea, again, that there's this accessible free game on your phone, which everybody kind of has these days, I think that sort of accessibility is a good thing.
Actually mentioned this on stream on Friday. I said the exact same thing. Because again, I was one of those fans that's I really wish this was on console, but it's true. Not everyone has a PS5 right now. Not everyone has a Switch. Not everyone even has a PC. So everybody has a phone. Granted, you do need quite a bit of storage for it. I didn't have all the storage in the world for it to begin with, so I will actually say that as well. So you do need a bit of storage for it, and it does drain your battery a lot, but it's accessible. because it's very clear. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be PS5. You know, same as like how the more modern games are just going to be PS5 exclusive. Like Kingdom Hearts 4 is probably going to be the same. So yeah, it is kind of good that you can obviously spend money on the game if you want to, you know, pay to win and stuff, but you can still do the free option in this game. You can still have a free Kingdom Hearts game and everybody has access to it because, yeah, like when you think about like the past of the series, how like, because I didn't play all the Kingdom Hearts games on all the different consoles growing up. Like I didn't play like Dream Drop Distance until it came out on the PS3, you know? So there was like certain consoles that I didn't have going through the series growing up. So yeah, like this particular one, Missing Link, everybody can pretty much join in on. So I completely agree. And it's like, it makes me think, yeah, actually, do you know what? This kind of being a mobile game is kind of a good idea. And then the fact that the more now wants to put some sort of like, I guess, lore into it with the GPS and I guess us in a way. Like, yeah, it just makes me actually equally more excited for this release.
Me too, and I've been playing with the idea that Nomura wants to completely tear that fourth wall down, but he doesn't want to do it in a conventional way, you know, where a character just like looks into the camera and speaks to you directly. I think he wants to find to put it bluntly, like a Kingdom Hearts way to do it. Like a way to make the player really feel like the world of Kingdom Hearts is interfacing with them, which is something you brought up earlier in today's episode with this whole GPS function and it being connected to you, you know, wherever you are in the world. Now, with that said, what do you think about Nomura's comments that they're considering adding player housing into Missing Link? Kind of the way in FF14 you can buy an apartment and then you get to decorate that apartment with the stuff you spend the in-game currency on. That to me, actually, I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe it's because I grew up playing Animal Crossing and I still love that series, admittedly, to this day. The idea that I'm going to have like an apartment in Scala Ed Kylum and I can decorate it with stuff, like do it. Do it, Nomura. Please. I don't know. Does that excite you?
Yeah.
Is that go ahead. I'm just going to ramble.
It does because like I think I'm with you. Like I also really like Animal Crossing as well. So I do like decorating like your own space. And I think like we're all sort of like hypothesizing at the moment that Sora's going to be in his own apartment, you know? So maybe that's like a certain thing that we get to experience in Missing Link. And then when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 4, it's the same sort of thing. So it's like, we actually got to do this in Missing Link. So we know how this works.
You're already familiar with it. That's a good point.
Yeah. And it's not so overwhelming because Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be like so new, so new of so many like different things. And if there is sort of like stuff in the game, like your own apartment stuff, then if there's a mechanic like that in Missing Link, for example, where we already know how to do it, it will feel really good if it happens in like Kingdom Hearts 4, for example.
I mean, but could you just like imagine having like a Verum Rex poster and then like the genie's lamp from Aladdin, just like as decorations? I don't know. I just think between all the cool little like Easter eggs and like trinkets you could pull out of the Disney and Final Fantasy canons, like I don't know. I just think you could have so much fun with it. Again, it's like imagine an Animal Crossing game, but all the items are Disney, Kingdom Hearts, and Final Fantasy related. I don't know. Something about that, like the Buster Sword is on your wall. You know, just stuff like that. Come on.
Oh, it'd be so good. It'd be like already with like the character customization already, like that's already so explorable. So if that is a thing that happens and they really do go to town of like merging both the Disney and the Square Enix franchise, like again, like this game has so much potential to really be a very, very cool game. Because you're right, like imagine having the Buster Sword on the wall and then like the Genie's Lab and you have like the magic carpet and then you have like a Mogul plushie like on your bed or something. Or
I don't know. Rafiki's stick from the Lion King is like in the corner or something. Yeah. It's got so much potential and it would be cool to see that because
I know there's a lot of us that want like more Final Fantasy characters in general, but I just think it'd be cool to see more like Final Fantasy elements. And I think that's a kind of a good example of that, like having things you can decorate your apartment with would be still a good way to have that Final Fantasy feel in Kingdom Hearts without necessarily introducing every single character. It would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a way to kind of connect those worlds without having to drag like an entire character into it. And I for one, like I easily fall into the, I hope Cloud's in KH4 or Zack or Sephiroth. But do you know what Final Fantasy representation I want in Kingdom Hearts more than anything?
Go for it.
Chocobos. If we could have
Mogul's, you're so right.
Then we need chocobos. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I agree. It's about time. It's about time they come to Kingdom Hearts. It's about time.
Or even I'll take a Tonberry. I could settle for a Tonberry.
Yeah.
I could settle for that.
I can settle for a Tonberry. As long as he doesn't stab me, then I can settle for a Tonberry. I agree.
Okay, Shaw Brother says, can you play Missing Link on PC or only smartphones? Only smartphones right now, but I feel pretty optimistic that it'll come to PC one day. Yeah.
Too. I think because Ever Crisis it does give me hope that Missing Link will as well.
Not only that, it happened so fast. Like, it was like a week and a half of Ever Crisis, and they were like, okay, here comes the Steam port. Like, they were ready to pull that trigger even a week after launch. I think they just want to see how big this game's going to be. Because if it's going to be a niche game that's the size of Union Cross, they're not going to bring it to console. You know what I mean? Like, what's the reason? Yeah. So, if the game is
that's why we got to play it. Yeah. That's why we got to play it.
Well, it's definitely going to it'll definitely get a healthy trial out of me. I'm going to give the game a lot of time to prove itself. The story I'm on board for. I don't know. I'm kind of already hooked already. I like Remus a lot. I think they introduced him very well. I'm already very curious about what does he know? You know, how is Freya is cool. What makes me more interested in Freya is that whole cat comment. But either way, like, I don't know. As someone who liked Union Cross, I think this is easier to get excited about for a multitude of reasons, and I just can't wait for it to come out.
Really like thinking a lot about that cat comment now, because I noticed when we was watching like a scene of her earlier, like how in her hair she's got like those like little black ears almost. I mean, it's like a hair accessory, but it looks like that. And I just can't help but like think of Kyrie's hood in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's almost the same.
Oh, you know, you're right.
So she could be Kyrie's grandmother. She could be Kyrie's grandmother after all.
No, the little black ears up there kind of look like the Chirithy ears.
Yeah.
More than I thought. I don't know why it's only just like hitting me now. But I don't know. It's exciting stuff. I think, you know, I was worried that this game would be a chore, but based on your testimonials and everything that I've seen, I don't think it's going to feel that way at all. And you've played it all touchscreen, right? You haven't used controller support?
No, I haven't used controller support at all. I think I would like to when the game's actually out. But for now, I'm just sort of playing it very basically, just to sort of get the most basic experience. Even if I feel good from that, then it can only feel better once you play with like controller support, etc.
Well, how many days are left of the beta now?
It ends on December the 7th, so who knows if we're going to get more things. I don't know. My suspicion is that we won't get any more story stuff at least. But I have been playing the game every day since starting it, so if there is any more updates, I will keep sharing on Twitter. And I do want to make a video of everything in case I have missed any points in today's like podcast or just in general. But yeah, we've still got 3 more days of it. So who knows?
Who knows? I know Nomura's been teasing some artwork that he wants to drop, so I'm looking forward to that. By the way, shout out to Sid Lexia, just subscribe to us over on Twitch. Thank you, Sid. Thank you. But yeah, Faye, is there anything else that you maybe wanted to discuss or get into. By the way, Jason Daniel says, I like your logic, Faye.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Thank you. I appreciate that. I
Was-
try.
Was there anything you and your logic sound mind wanted to bring up again before we wrap up?
Honestly, I feel like I guess the jungle area, I think, is the only thing that I can think of.
What's your guess? What is that jungle area? What if you had to guess one world, what is it?
So I think it's one or two things. I either think one, it is a Disney World, or two, it's like an arena, like kind of like what I mentioned earlier, where when you're doing the battle quests, like one of them is in like that area by the beach where Remus found you, and then one of them looks like a warehouse.
Okay.
So I do kind of feel like it's very possible it might not even be a Disney World at all. But I do think it is most likely a Disney World. I think if I had to decide out the two options, I would say it is a Disney World, but I'm just having that other option there, just not to get disappointed, if anything. But it was very, I feel like it's not Moana. I feel like just from and I think it's just mainly just because of the graphics. Like, the graphics are really good, but I think for Moana, I think that's going to be like a Kingdom Hearts 4 post thing, I think. Because I can just imagine how like stunning that world would be. And I don't know if the limits can handle that in this mobile game. So, and it did look very, very, very like jungle-like. So there was, yeah, you felt very surrounded in the jungle. So parts of it reminded me of like Pirates of the Caribbean and Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't think it is. Although it might be, because my initial thought actually playing it, was it could possibly be Lilo and Stitch because of like those flowers that you see. But the music is it wouldn't be the music that you would hear in a Lilo and Stitch world. It's almost Neverland-ish. So, or maybe even Pirates of the Caribbean.
You get a pirate kind of feel. That's what I'm hearing, because Neverland and pirates.
Yeah.
So you get sort of that. Okay.
Yeah. So just looking at the environment, I thought Hawaii with Lilo and Stitch, and I didn't think Moana. But with the music though, I kind of doubt it now. I kind of feel like if it is a Disney World, it's going to be one of those two. But like I said, it might not be a world at all. It might be just an arena, perhaps.
Not only that, you've made me think of something I think is so worth discussing. Is I don't think Disney is going to debut. Like, we might get a new Disney worlds, but I don't think it would be any of the newest IPs, because you kind of raised the point of like, okay, say it is Moana. Are they going to really want to debut their Moana world through Missing Link's bottlenecks graphics? Right? I can't imagine, because I look at Frozen, right? The Frozen from Kingdom Hearts 3 looks just as good as the cinematic version. I can't imagine they're going to take Moana or something new, a new IP they care about, and like bottleneck it to look worse. Right? The seal's already broken with worlds like Olympus, Lilo and Stitch, Pinocchio, Snow White. Seal's already broken. We've seen them in the clunky PS2 graphics. But I think this newer stuff like Coco, and they like Wreck-It Ralph is an exception, right? Because it was in Union Cross, but it's with those 2D sprites, right? It was different. It was a whole different art style. But now that we're in these sort of 3D graphics that look like Pixar films, I just don't. I'm starting to think they won't want to debut something that new in Missing Link.
I feel the same. I think it was kind of, it made sense for us to theorize that before we've seen more of the gameplay. But now, actually, like playing a bit of the game myself, that is exactly how I feel. I don't feel that they are going to debut their new IPs in this game. I feel like it would be cool if they. I think it's really cool that Snow White could be coming back, because I really like the classic Disney movies.
Me too.
So it would be really cool if they maybe bring a classic Disney movie that we've not seen before. I would really like that a lot personally, more than I would like a new IP. And I feel like if they're going to do that, then Missing Link probably is the better example to do that because of like the graphics and stuff, and we're probably going to see the more newer stuff in the future games, perhaps. So who knows if we see like a new, when I say new, I mean like the old Disney movies, but we've never seen it in Kingdom Hearts before. That would be so cool if that happens.
I think this is, you know how people talk about wanting movies like Treasure Planet and some of these more niche Disney movies that never got a shot? I think that's something you might see populate here. An older IP, but it's new to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Like, yeah, I feel like I do have so I do kind of have a theory now, and there is like one Disney World particularly that I know a lot of people want, but I feel like it is going to be the perfect one for Missing Link now. And I hope it happens because it is a bit more of an older IP now.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if they brought Atlantis in to this game, it would just be mind blowing. Because you know how like in Atlantis where the world sort of sinks and like everything's forgotten?
Yes.
That's what happens in Scala. Like everything's going to be forgotten.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
That is kind of a perfect fit then. If that's really what Scala's going to end up doing. Huh.
Yeah. So I want that. That's just my wish. That's now my wish for a Disney World for Missing Link after playing it. That.
Well, I like that because I feel like a lot of the Kingdom Hearts 3 Disney Worlds were all about foreshadowing. Like they all in their own way foreshadowed the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. So if a Missing Link keeps up with that idea in some way, I would like it. And that would be one way to do it. I'll say that much. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, almost 2 hours. Okay. Well, Faye, I'll ask the question again. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss before we wrap it up? Anything that you didn't get to talk about or bring up or discuss yet from the beta?
I'm trying to think. So I'm just trying to think of all the gameplay stuff that we've done. So we've talked about, I know you covered like the Mogul stuff earlier. We talked about like just the atmosphere, we talked about the raids, we talked about parties, we talked about the weird stuff. I guess the only thing to expect is like the gacha system. I guess there's gonna be a lot of temptation to draw a lot with the game. But otherwise, I can't think of anything right now. I think we've covered the basics of what I've explored so far. But if I do discover anything new, I will update the community.
Well, yes,
I do.
Make sure you're following her on Twitter. I've got you've been posting a lot of updates there. So I got her links in the description for that. Tiger Weirdo's asking you, how do you get accessories in the game? Or if you can.
Honestly, the free accessories that I've seen, they seem to have been there. So at this moment in time, I don't actually remember at the top of my head, unfortunately. I'm so sorry to say. But I think the accessories that I've put on my character, I think were already there.
Okay.
Apart from when I put the outfit for what the character is wearing now.
And Enrique's asking, do they have you need these trophies to complete the mission type of gameplay? I'm not quite sure what he's asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that either.
Do they have you need these trophies to complete the type of game? I guess, do you need to use trophies to complete the mission? I don't know. I guess that's what he's asking. But anyway, I think it's time we wrap it up here. Faye, thank you so much for your time. You must have been so busy today. I know you were streaming earlier, which was a delightful watch, I'll say, as someone who's never played Chrono Trigger.
Thank you.
How are you liking
I appreciate
it, by the way?
That. Chrono Trigger is really fun. I've heard that it's like, so I've been sort of on a journey with Twitch at the moment, sort of exploring a lot of like more older JRPGs at the moment, because I do find it really fascinating to see where this whole genre of games started. So I've been really enjoying that. And I've heard like many things about Chrono Trigger. People really rate it as one of like the best of all time. So it's if you like like the old like Final Fantasies, like 7 as well, then yeah, you probably would really like Chrono Trigger. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Well, I like it too because it's Toriyama's art style too, which, you know.
It is.
Hits me
It's
right in the
great, and the
feels.
cutscenes are beautiful. The cutscenes are beautiful. They're great.
Well, you're selling me on it. So maybe in the future there's a Chrono Trigger episode of this podcast. But anyway, Faye, thank you so much. It was great talking to you. Thank you for sharing your experiences with the audience, letting people know how it is. Before we wrap up, where can people find you?
Thank you for having me, Landy. This was really fun. I hope I've done my best to give all the information out as possible.
You did great.
And thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. You can find me at Twitch at twitch.tv/Faylitzia. On YouTube, Faylitzia. On Twitter, Faylitzia. Instagram, Faylitzia. Yeah, all that jazz. But yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts a lot. It's my favorite series, and I'm really, really, really touched to do this beta. I'm really, really honored to do it. So I do feel very lucky. I really hope everyone can experience this really soon. I really honestly hope so. But thank you guys for joining me on the journey with it. I really do appreciate it. So thank you, Landy. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, and thank you for giving us your time. Again, I got all her links in the description, guys. Make sure you follow her on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, the whole thing. You know how it goes. If you're hanging with us on Twitch, we're going to raid Bambina Fofina. She's playing Final Fantasy VII. Very, very, very classic RPG title. But anyway, Faye, thank you again. Audience, thank you so much for tuning in. Chat, Sages, Umbra, Mods, all of you. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.